Noah Centineo. He's scary. He's everywhere. He's like an infection. He's like a disease. He gets into your brain and he eats it from the inside out. And then all you see left in your eyeballs when you shut them is just this. Today I'm talking about one of his many crimes, which is the perfect date. That's really gross. So the film begins with him rising and shining, and we learn he's college queen. He's writing some form of application, and it kind of gives a coming of age movie vibe. He very much so is like, I have a lot to learn, but I'm also the best. So it's like we get that energy. And he's also like, I'm gonna change the world. I'm gonna do something that's gonna change the world. We also find out in this context, Noah is an Elon Musk stan. He also works at what I can only describe as a Subway knockoff. I'm pretty sure it's just called Sub. But we find out that his dream school where he was previously applying was Yale. Why did you drop out of Yale? So he's like then reading out his like admissions paper thing to this lady at his school, and she's low-key like, that was really shit. And I'm like, fairs. Yeah, and he's like, oh, what do I do now? And she's like, just be more deep. He's like, what? Because like famously, Noah Centineo is a spineless shrimp. Actually, that's untrue. Like, some of his tweets really go off the deep end. Then this random, like, ass menace pops up on screen, and I don't like his presence. That's saying a lot because Noah Centineo is in this movie. To Noah, he's like, do you want to borrow my car? By the way, it's not even that good. It's a BMW. It's just, like, mad wrapped in, like, shiny stuff. And Noah's like, yeah. And he's like, pranked. You actually can't borrow my car because you suck and you're poor. It's just a really bad, like, prank because realistically, I wasn't laughing. And that random guy is just absolutely jarring to look at and listen to and look at and hear about and look at. So Noah Centineo gets in his regular ass car because famously in this film he is poor. And then cut to the sub shop. The Subway knockoff. He is there with his bestie, who's actually really real. I think his name is Murph. I think his name is Murph. Like Morpheus from The Matrix. They're just having a chit chat, and then jarring car prank man walks in. He's all like, yeah, I've got to take my cousin on a date. First of all, weird. And then he's like, I don't want to do it. And then Noah Centineo is like, I volunteer as tribute. He has his Katniss Everdeen moment and he goes for it because he wants the money famously for Yale. Then the guy's also like, you can take my car, which is so jarring from him because of his previous prank. To be honest though, I do respect the hustle because I do a lot for money and I would do anything for money. And a big like premise of this film is that Noah is just a big liar. He spit like fake facts. Like he was like, I don't know, he probably at some point was like, the earth is flat. JK, that's fake. And like he knows he's saying fake facts because then afterwards he's like, yeah, that was a prank. And it's like, just don't say it then. Cut out the middleman and just skip to the truth. And now we meet quirky girl. She's not like other girls. She doesn't like high heels. I am famously talking about that random jarring car man's cousin who Noah Centineo now has to take on a date. She's called Celia, and famously she's all quirky. She's like, I don't want to go to the school dance. Those are lame and they're for the popular kids. But then Noah Centineo is like, let's go because I'm Noah Centineo. So they arrive at the high school for and right off the bat, Noah's like, let's dance together. Let's do a tango. So the girlies, they're throwing some quirky moves and they're like, oh, I'm so like quirky at dancing because I don't want to dance nicely. So they're like, and then a slow song starts playing. So they're kind of like, what do we do? And Noah's like, come here. If you don't know what that meant, that was my interpretation of a slowdown. And 2 seconds later, guess who's in this film? Veronica from Riverdale. She appears taking her selfie. She's like, you know, because she's like the hot girly, she's the it girl. She's not just the clean girl aesthetic, she's the sterilized girl aesthetic. That's how like it girl she is. And Noah is enthralled by her selfie taking, and he's like, I want a piece of that. 2 seconds later, Veronica from Riverdale and Noah centineo, they meet. And in the captions, it said he did a goofy laugh. Like, like from Mickey Mouse. So the girlies leave the dance. I literally think the whole purpose of that scene was just so we could meet Veronica from Riverdale. The quirky girl, she makes a pranky joke about like, oh, he should like make an escort service, and he's like, good idea. Jarring Carboy and Noah are having a conversation about the car, not the Arctic Monkeys album, the Jarring Carman's car. And he's like, he got it from the Hustle. And Noah's like, I want a piece of the Hustle. Like I would want a piece of cherry cake. Like I want the Hustle. And the Hustle can only mean one thing, that he's a drug dealer. Centineo has come up with a plan. He's gonna make this app and get money. But bitches, get money. Murph agrees to help because he's the technological G in this friendship. Like he's literally made the whole app. So I feel like he should at least get like 60% stakes or something because he literally made it. Why is there a bug on my camera? Noah is stalking Veronica from Riverdale on Instagram, and he gets a bleep on his phone, and he's like, and turns out his app is up and running and he has a request. So then we get a bit of a montage of all his like professions he's taken on as this escort. He went to a costume contest, he went salsa dancing. So long story short, he is on his work grind. Cut to another scene. Quirky girl phones up Noah centineo and is like, I need your help making this guy jealous. And she informs him that this party is happening at Shelby's house. And if you don't know who that is, because I have exclusively been calling her Veronica from Riverdale. So of course Noah's like, oh, is that Veronica's house? Yeah, count me in 100%. Because famously he's like enthralled by her. Quirky girl is all shy and she's like, like my crush is over there but I want to talk to him, like help. Turns out this crush is like a vinyl male manipulator. He is literally a textbook male manipulator. And Veronica from Riverdale, she's like giggling away. She's having a good old little ha 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 knee slapper to herself because she thinks Noah is a comedic G. Finally, we find out as they're leaving the party that Quirky Girl has indeed asked out Vinyl Fella. Also, she drops this huge like information bomb. Her padre has connections at Yale, which famously is where Noah wants to go. Quirky Girl takes Noah to get Yaled. He completely really manipulates the whole interview and just is straight up a liar. He talks to the main dean guy about bees because the dean loves bees. He loves bees, he's a beekeeper. This basically means he becomes besties with the dean. Quirky Girl finds this out because they're talking about honey as they like walk out the office and she's pissed. She's like, how can you lie? How can you be a fake? And then like 1 minute later they make up and they're like, it's fine, like everybody makes mistakes, everybody has those days. So now Murph, who is Noah's bestie, is in my opinion such a good friend. Because they were supposed to hang and then Noah got a request and he was like, I'll go take it, queen. And I personally wouldn't have that because I am really petty. Quirky Girl ends up going on her date with the vinyl boy and shock horror, he's a nightmare. And we find out that even though Murph is gorge and he is so nice, he was pissed about Noah's work right. Cut to the future. The girlies are attending a party together. Quirky girl gets all swagged up. She's like looking her best. And we start to catch little hints that maybe she too is enthralled with Noah. And it's not just fake dating, like they're pretending, it's real. So they go to this big party so they can have a public breakup. So Veronica from Riverdale and Vinyl Guy see it and are like, oh, now I can date them. When it's happening, he says things that she said to him in private. So she's like, wow, I'm pissed because like I told you that in confidence. Like, why are you repeating these things? And she actually starts getting tears prickling her eyes. She's upset. The big boom breakup happens and Noah walks away. Literally 2 seconds later, Veronica from Riverdale comes up and is like, are you okay? Like starts consoling him, which was the plan. So she comes over for, you think, oh, just for a little chit chat. Are you okay? How are you doing? And boom, 2 seconds later, they are making out. And I'm like, a bit too soon. And she asks Noah to be her date to another dance, because apparently their school has a fuck ton of dances. So this carries through and there's a bit of a time skip in the film. He goes to pick her up, she's all glammed up, she's like, oh, I have like 50 people working on this look, and I'm like, okay. So they go out for dinner beforehand, and let me just say, it's a bit orcs. Like, the convo just isn't flowing. It's just not going well. Like, you watch them talk and you're like... Then at the dance, one of his dates comes up to him and exposes him in front of Veronica. She's like, oh, you really helped me, like, with my dating skills. Thanks, babe. Thanks for your services. And Veronica's like, what services? And he ends up telling her the truth about the app and about the services and everything. And she's like, I'm not mad because you're poor, I'm mad because you're a liar. Now, he goes over to have a bit of a gab with Quirky Girl, who is dancing right now. They find out that things didn't work out with each other's, like, people. But we get hints that they like each other, because she's like, oh, I guess I like bitches who are annoying and suck. And he's like, that's me, like you. And then he's like, let's dance, like, as an invitation. And she's like, no, I'm not your backup. And I was like, Noah's wreck. And he comes home and he comes clean to his padre about his app and his side hustle. And the girlies, they have a cheeky heart to heart. They're like, you are great, son, you rock. Then 2 seconds later, he gets a notification and he's like, ooh, I have a request. And then he turns it down, which famously is character growth, because he used to take every request. Him and Murph, they make up, and it all's good with the girlies. He meets up with Celia in a cafe, and this is the part in the film where it hits me. His name in the film is Brooks. Noah Centineo's name in this film is Brooks, like a books with an R. Brooks. So Brooks, turns out, right, after this entire film, after this entire plot, he didn't even apply to Yale. And he's trying to make up with Quirky Girl. Now cut to, he's at home and he starts getting some crazy requests on his app and he's like, deny, deny, deny. And we realise that it's actually Quirky Girl. And this is just her quirky way of like saying she accepts his apology. So she pulls up at his house and she's like, come on, we're going. I think he's getting kidnapped. So he's dragged to a secret location, and actually, he's not kidnapped. And it turns out the gal pals threw a little get-together, a little boogie. Quirky Girl and Noah, they fully make up, and he spits what I can only describe as the ultimate riz. And they kiss, like, 3 times. Then the camera starts panning out, the girlies have a little boogie, and the credits roll. My final thoughts are, what on earth was that? The whole plot was just odd, and Noah Centineo is jarring. He's like a jar and a ring. I just think it was mad, especially the whole thing. I just can't get over the fact that he didn't even end up applying to Yale. That was the whole point of the film, and it didn't even happen. That's like if a film was about living and halfway through the girl just died and the rest of the film was just a black screen. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Ooh. All in all, I feel like after listening to so much about Noah Centineo you need like a week break. So I'm gonna let you like mentally process what just happened. Bye!